My neighbor, let's call him Kevin, was the kind of guy who thought he owned the whole block. You know the type always peering over the fence, complaining about a leaf that blew into his yard. I just bought my dream property, a nice plot of land with an old, but charming, house right in the middle of it. The first time we met Kevin, he wasn't welcoming. He just pointed at my house and grunted, "You need to move that." He laughed, thinking it was a weird joke. "Move the house? It's been here for 80 years, he sighed. He wasn't laughing. "It's on my land," he stated, dead serious. "You've got 30 days to move your house, or I'll have it torn down." He was completely baffled. This had to be a mistake. He pulled out the documents from my purchase. Everything seemed perfectly in order. The property survey he had done before buying clearly showed my house was well within my boundaries. He tried showing it to Kevin, but he just waved it away. "That paper is garbage," he scoffed. "My family has owned this land for 100 years. You know where the line is." He then pointed to an old, rotten fence post, nearly hidden in the weeds, about 20 feet inside my property. "That's the real marker," he insisted. "Your whole house is on my land." This was getting serious. I wasn't just dealing with a grumpy neighbor. I was dealing with someone trying to steal my home. I told him he had a legal survey, but he wouldn't listen. His threats became more frequent and more aggressive. He started leaving notice on my door, counting down the days until he would bring in the bulldozers. I knew he had to act, and not just to defend my property, but to go on the offensive. This guy picked a fight with the wrong person. If he wanted to play games with property lines, then we were going to play. So, he did what any reasonable person would do in this insane situation. He hired a new surveyor. Not just any surveyor, but the most reputable, detail-oriented firm in the state. He told them the story. He said, "He wants you to survey this land with a fine-tooth comb. Check every historical record, every deed, every marker dating back to the original land grant. They don't want to just prove him wrong. They want to know the exact legal line, down to the last millimeter." The lead surveyor, a seasoned professional named Mr. Harrison, just smiled. "Son," he said, "you live for situations like this." They got to work, and he waited, feeling a mix of anxiety and a growing sense of righteous determination. Kevin would patch along the supposed line every day, smugly watching the surveyors, thinking they were working for me to figure out how to move my house. He had no more idea what was really coming. About 2 weeks later, Mr. Harrison called me. There was an excited tone in his voice. "We found something," he said. "Something big. Can you meet us on site tomorrow morning?" My heart pounded. This was it. The next morning, he met Mr. Harrison and his team. Kevin was there, of course, arms crossed, with a triumphant smirk. Mr. Harrison unrolled a massive, freshly drawn map. He pointed to my house. "As we confirmed," he began, "your house is entirely on your property. The old fence post your neighbor mentioned is irrelevant." Kevin started to protest, but Mr. Harrison held up a hand. "But that's not the interesting part," he continued, his finger tracing a line on the map. He explained that during their deep dive into the county's historical records, they discovered a surveying error from the 1920s. An original, government-placed iron survey monument, the legally binding marker for the entire block, had been misrecorded for decades. The survey team had located this original, buried monument, and here was the kicker: the actual, legal property line wasn't where my survey said it was, and it certainly wasn't where Kevin's rotten post was. The true line was 30 feet further into his property. Not only was my house safe, but a huge chunk of what he considered his immaculate backyard, including his prize-winning rose garden, and the corner of his new grass was, and had always been, legally mine. The look on Kevin's face was a masterpiece. His jaw went slack, his smug expression melting into pure, unadulterated shock. He was speechless. "This can't be right," he finally stammered. "This is my land." Mr. Harrison calmly presented the evidence: the old maps, the deed records, and the GPS coordinates from the rediscovered official monument. It was irrefutable. The law was crystal clear. The county clerk's office reviewed the findings and officially recorded the corrected property lines within a week. He was now the legal owner of a significant portion of Kevin's yard. So, what did he do? First, he put up a brand new, very tall, very sturdy fence right on the newly established property line. It should right through his beloved rose garden. Then, he sent him a certified letter. It was polite, but firm. He informed him that his grass was encroaching on my property and that he had, by his own logic, 30 days to move it. The irony was delicious. He had started this war by telling me to move my entire house, and now he was legally obligated to tear down part of his own grass. He tried to fight it, of course. He hired a lawyer, who promptly reviewed my surveyor's report and advised him to give up. He had no more case. The day his crew came to dismantle the corner of his grass was a quiet one. He didn't gloat. He just watched from my window, sipping my coffee. He had wanted to play hardball over a line in the dirt, a line that only existed in his imagination. He ended up losing a huge piece of his land and a part of his grass because of his own arrogance. He never spoke to me again, not even to complain about a leaf. Sometimes, when a bully tells you to move, the best thing you can do is stand your ground, do your homework, and move the line right back at them. They might just find out they were standing on your property the whole time. And that's the story of how my neighbor's greed completely backfired. A good lesson in why you should always be sure of your facts before you start making demands. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this story, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more. We'll see you in the next video.